Good afternoon. It's 5 years since Sheffield boxer Scott Westgarth died from a bleed on the brain just hours after winning the biggest fight of his career. With him that night was his trainer Glyn Rhodes, who's spoken to Look North about the mental anguish Scott's death has caused. Glyn wants to tackle the macho culture in boxing and encourage men to speak up if they're suffering. Here's Mark Ansell.
Scott Westgarth was at the peak of his career. But just hours after winning a gruelling 10-round bout at Doncaster Dome, he was rushed to hospital and died in an ambulance. With him that night was his trainer, Glyn Rhodes.
1 minute Scott had won the fight and we're in a ring and he's having his hand raised and we're so happy. And then within a few hours you've got a doctor telling you, that Scott's died. You go from here to a crash to here. I really did find it hard. But like I say, you keep up this. We're in a manly sport. We're in a boxing sport, so you've got to be tough. You've got to be hard. Men don't cry, and man up and pull yourself together. And it's a load of rubbish.
The mental impact on Glyn was intolerable. He couldn't escape from playing the night's events over and over in his head. Eventually, Glyn saw a psychiatrist who diagnosed him with post-traumatic stress disorder. Glyn is even more passionate now about tackling the mental health stigma. Since Scott's death, 2 of his friends have taken their own lives.
There's this thing with men where we can't show your feelings and you can't say I'm struggling, or I can't ask for help. Like my friends, both my friends who took their own lives, I just wish they'd have come and spoke to me and said, I'm struggling, because we never knew they were struggling.
And Glyn, did it ever make you question whether you could continue working in this sport, bearing in mind what boxing had done to Scott?
I did ask myself a lot of questions. Is this what you want to do? Can I seriously walk in this gym every day, training young kids, knowing that one day they could be involved in a tragedy? But then I thought to myself, well, you know what? Boxing does so much good, far outweighs the bad. And so I'll be doing this forever, I think.
Glyn, what message do you want to get out to what is still a very macho sport of boxing?
Don't think that, yeah, I'm a boxer, so I've got to act tough and I've got to act like macho. It doesn't make you any less a person or any less a boxer, knowing that you've spoke to somebody close to you, your trainer or your manager or somebody in the gym. Just speak to people. That's the message that I want to give out to people. Speak to people.